Looking for somewhere to copy trade that offers only the highest quality of certified traders, vetted by a team committed to helping traders become successful? Diablo is that platform, offering rigorous risk management by setting maximum drawdowns for their platform's traders. As with real trading rooms, traders are followed by a person called risk managers during their incubation period, so there's no need to worry about what traders you follow on Diablo.io. So visit Diablo.io for more information on participating in their open beta.
This my two Satoshis. This my two Satoshis. Who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis? Yeah.
Hola, GNGs. I'm Tracker 2Ks, and this is my two Satoshis on CBTV. If you don't know, the basic idea is I cover some stories that are crypto related on one side and then non-crypto blockchain related stories. And I kind of bring a crossing of how these things might be relevant to what's going on around you and in your life. Nonetheless, this is not financial advice, and this is not me telling you how to live your life. This is more so just, hey, here's some things that kind of caught my attention, and maybe you might want to pay attention, but you don't got to do nothing, right? Again, I'm just some dude on the internet who's bald, who wears shades. So who am I? Track with 2Ks if you didn't know. Jumping into these stories, right? First one is Panama says yes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency currency as congressional bill passes. Members of Panama's Congress voted in favor of the crypto law that will give Bitcoin and cryptocurrency legal status. Now, if you have not been paying attention, pretty much Latin America is getting orange pilled like a mofo right now, from Mexico on down, right? But there are various different things happening between these different countries and jurisdictions as far as how they're going. Arguably, jumping out the gate first was Venezuela with what they were trying to do like 2-3 years ago and all of that, but that didn't pan out how that was hopefully gonna work. Nonetheless, then you come up with what El Salvador is doing. Now we got Panama talking about what they doing, and even Brazil and Honduras, right? So Panama joins Brazil and Honduras as the latest Latin American nations to signal strong pro-crypto sentiment. Yet El Salvador and Central African Republic remain the only countries to have legislated for Bitcoin as legal tender. So here's that distinction and what's being said right here. Let's understand. The bill is talking about how they can integrate the payment rails and some of the technology of blockchain into their traditional financing setup as it is right now. It's not saying, hey, Bitcoin is going to have legal tender. It's saying, hey, we want to come up with the framework to be able to integrate this new payment rail system method, this new type of currency. It ain't saying we doing it right now. It's not saying what El Salvador is doing. There's a distinction in this line right here. And so you got to understand, it's one of those, like, we talking big, we sounding good, but it's not exactly what the sound bites want you to think it is. And even when you listen or read what this particular Panama National Congress member said, Gabriel Silva, he uses X amount of the buzzwords where it's like, yeah, we're looking to be an innovative, innovation hub and a technology hub. If you know anything about Latin America when it comes to Panama and where it sits within the Southern Hemisphere, especially within Latin America, for money, there's money in there. There's a lot of overseas folks who have things going on in Panama, if anybody remembers the Panama Papers, right? The point of this particular thing right now is, like, they want to get that new wave of money coming in, and they want to be able to be a part of that. They don't want to get outdated because they haven't upgraded the technology infrastructure on the back end. They don't want to be left out. They don't want to see a drain or capital flight happen of entities, whether they be individuals or companies, moving over into places like Honduras or Ecuador or Costa Rica. And if you have been to Panama City is definitely like one of the most like industrious and city metropolitan places in Latin America. I don't know if it's like top 10, but it's definitely up there. And so the other thing that kind of gets into this, like I said, they took a quote from somebody, regulates the commercialization and use of cryptocurrencies, the issuance of digital value, and the tokenization of precious metals and other goods. Basically being, they need to make that software upgrade so that the different sectors and industries that they have local to them don't get outdated, and the countries economic sector and the way that they've been doing business for the last couple of decades, they don't get left behind. People don't start moving over to the other Latin American countries. Because that's the whole thing going on right now. I keep saying it to y'all that what you see, well, at least how I'm interpreting this, right? What we will see this decade is countries will go left or right on this thing of blockchain and cryptocurrency adoption and the other use cases. Some countries are going to move in favor, especially if they're like a first or second tier country and have a strong, robust financial infrastructure where they're going to do X amount of things to throttle adoption. And other countries who are looking to move out of being the third and second tier countries as far as their economics, they're going to look to do things that are more in favor. But we're talking about governments. Got to remember that. So what are they going to do? They're going to do things that work to make it that they can still control it. That's the key thing in this whole thing of what's being said in this particular article right here. They're still going to look to control it because they're a government. Like, it's not a free-for-all. There's going to be capital flight controls and other mechanisms in how they bring it to their country or integrate it into their systems. Even what Bukele's doing, he's doing some level of control stuff too. You can't deny that part of it. Granted, yeah, you know, a clap for the adoption of Bitcoin as a legal currency, but it doesn't change the fact of it's from a top-down thing. It's from that kind of model and setup. So there is controls that are being put into place and how it will operate for the citizens of that jurisdiction or the people who choose to operate in that jurisdiction. Just saying, understand the distinctions. Now, jumping into this next story, X amount of folks might not even see how this relates and like, why are we paying attention to North Korea? So North Korea just said, hey, we had a C-19 outbreak, but it's the Amarion variants of it, right? And so now they're like, well, we locking down the country even though we did good for like 2 years. And I read this and I was like, so who the hell's been traveling to the north side? Like, it ain't the south side. But geographically, if you've never been to that side of the world, if you've never looked at the map to understand where is what, North Korea shares a very long porous border with China. And there's also that China is the major trade partner with them. China had their whole lockdown thing last month into this month. And that whole situation is playing out, depending on what you're paying attention to, kind of crazy. The bigger thing is that there was transactions back and forth between these two regions, right? So that means people were interacting and things were spreading. And so now we have it that, hey, this is what the north side is saying. We locking everything down. We're not doing nothing no more, but we're also not taking aid. We're going to deal with this ourselves. Why does this matter? Because things like this happening in that part of the world eventually do carry over to our side of the world, whether you in Europe, whether you in Latin America, whether you in North America. Because again, North side don't mess with the South, but they do mess with the people in China. The people in China do get to leave and go where they go. Just saying, these things happen as far as the exchange and interaction of whatever, you know, diseases or sicknesses, even though they could be simple or severe, they happen. So we're talking about it now at the, the top of the second quarter. Where will this look when we look at the third and the fourth quarter in regards to the logistics and economic production of that region, China, North Korea, as well as how will this impact other countries in the area and what's going on with how they may jump back into a scenario of closing off their borders. North Korea in particular is like, well, nah, we're not shutting down. We're gonna still produce what we're producing. What I thought was really interesting about this article was that, all right, so this is the little thing about like, hey, we have been in good standing for 2 years while everybody else is going crazy. But what really got me was their leadership is like, hey, we're not shutting down the economy though. We still gonna function. So they still gonna do their business trades and stuff to a degree with China above them. They still gonna do their whole testing thing of what they're doing on their military side. So they're not about to play possum, but they are gonna take some precautionary actions in regards to how the country will interact with other folks of whoever they're interacting with. Now, compare that to what we did. during that 2-year run for the C19. I don't know who's gonna make it on top. All I'm saying is that this is something that happened. Depending on what you're paying attention to and how you live in your life, it might be something that you keep on the radar. Because hey, like it or not, there are things that may not be directly related to you, but it doesn't mean it doesn't impact what's going on in your life. You just might not know how many degrees removed it is from what's going on with you. Anywho, let's jump into this last one right here. And there you go. There we go. Last one. I'm gonna throw out this is a tweet that I did this morning. Why did I do this tweet this morning? Because I want y'all to see this. I use Zoom as the way to do the recordings and present those to y'all, right? So here you have it that it was an update since I last used Zoom like a week ago. And I saw this line right here. Now, if you don't know about Brave Browser is a blockchain related company. They have the whole Brave token thing. And since the situation with DuckDuckGo, I stopped using DuckDuckGo a while ago and I now use Brave. But Brave is not accepted by all online services. And Zoom has been doing their thing to step up the game and realizing that Brave is growing as a service provider as far as being a internet browser, right? And so they had to start making the upgrades and changes. This is where we get into this thing of Web 2 versus Web 3. And what are either the IPSS, the internet service providers, as well as the browser companies, what are they doing to enhance things for you? And then what are the other companies that are related to the internet doing to make the use and utility more robust and better and doing the upgrades and integration? And so here you have it that Zoom is doing what they're supposed to do and they paying attention to what Brave Browser is doing. So I had to give a shout outs to the team from Samson and Simon and the rest of the team, because at this point there's no denying that Brave is growing in market share. It is growing in user base. It's not just here in the States. If you understand how people are using Zoom globally, then you understand that is a significant thing to see that, yes, they are starting to make those upgrades. And I bring this to you on the end of, if you're a remote worker and if you don't want to use Google or Firefox and all of that stuff anymore, Brave is an option. Not saying you got to do anything, just saying it's an option. Anywho, I'm closing it out on this last couple of things here. And that is that, so we're working on some things in the background for the coming forward in regards to the next couple of weeks and months. There's conferences and things happening. There's some giveaway stuff we also working on for the CBTV family. And so stay tuned on what's going on. And I'll say this, if what I said you disagree with, guess what? You can thumbs me down or you can leave a comment. But if I said something that you agree with or gave you a new perspective and understanding, greatly appreciated if you give it the thumbs up and if you shared and left a comment, definitely. But either way, I'm still good and I'm gonna still bring y'all these stories. And again, this is my two Satoshis. I'm Shrek with 2Ks. This is CBTV. And just check us out for the next one, right? All right, y'all. One.